When we were growing up, a lot of us probably lived in joint families where we had multiple mommies, chachis, nannies, daddies who helped raise us. Also, in a lot of the families, when a woman got pregnant, you usually had older women who knew what to do in terms of taking care of the mother and even the newborn baby. Also, a lot of our moms in those days were stay-at-home moms, so that meant that there was always somebody to look out for the children. But now, with nuclear families and usually both parents working, there comes the requirement of paid help. In India, I believe it's an absolute luxury, a privilege, and a blessing to have paid help, something which you may not be able to in other countries. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking in today's video. If you're considering getting paid help, then I'm just sharing a few things that worked for me. So, let's dive right in. So the first kind of help that you can hire for your child, and this is one I see a lot of new moms going in for these days, is hiring a japa. So a japa is a woman who's a specialist in postpartum care. She's the one who takes care of the baby and the mother immediately after delivery. So japas don't really have formal training, so to speak, but they come from a community where women in their family and their neighborhoods have done this for a generation. So they will come to you armed with a lot of these desi nuskhas as well as experience of having handled multiple children. Usually a japa's scope of work is very set in the sense that they will tell you what they will do and what they will not do. All of their work would normally revolve around taking care of the mother and the baby. They will not help out with household tasks. So typically a japa's roles and responsibilities would include giving the baby a malish once or twice a day, feeding the baby with either formula or expressed milk, or getting the baby to you when it's time for the baby to feed, giving the baby a bath, dressing them, just taking care of their overall health and hygiene. She would also be helping you by giving you a malish, which is usually a postnatal massage that is needed for the mother's body to heal. If you're having issues with lactation, say, so she would suggest certain homemade recipes to help you boost your milk supply, ensuring you're eating well, even perhaps getting up with you for night feeds. So like I said, end to end, baby and mother care. A japa will be typically hired for a minimum of 40 days because in our traditional Indian culture, it is believed that a 40-day period is what is needed for the mother's body to completely heal from childbirth. You can hire them for a longer period depending on your own comfort. But one word of caution that I would give you from my own experience, if you are planning to hire a japa, please hire her well in advance. Don't wait till a few days before your delivery. This is simply because a lot of japas have a full calendar with their bookings through the year chalked out. So it would be a good idea to either take that decision yourself of how long you want to hire her, or maybe discuss with your partner and the family, and then find someone in your second trimester. So it would probably be a good idea to either take that decision yourself or maybe discuss with your partner and family and find someone as early as in your second trimester. So in terms of what arrangements you would have to make, a japa will come and live with you during that period of time. So you would have to make her stay arrangements and food arrangements. Also, one more thing is that usually a lot of these japas travel across the country depending on where the mother is located, sometimes even abroad. So you would have to make travel arrangements or maybe compensate them for the travels to wherever you're located. So the second kind of help that you can hire for your baby is a nanny. A nanny is usually hired for a longer time, and perhaps after the baby touches maybe 3 months or a little older. The nanny model is a lot more flexible because you can hire them for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, even 24 hours depending on your own requirement and comfort. And usually while a nanny's primary job is to take care of the children, they could also assist with a little bit of housework. In terms of what arrangements you would have to make in addition to their salary, it would be depending on how long they're with you. So obviously if they're staying with you for 24 hours, you would have to make accommodation and arrangements for all their meals. If they are there with you for 10 hours, so maybe just 2 meals and so on. So the third kind of help that I've seen a lot of my friends go in for, if you don't want to hire a japa or a nanny, is you can hire somebody who can take care of a very specific part of your childcare. So maybe for instance, the most common is hiring somebody just for the malish. Some people also choose to have someone come in to make their baby's meals once the baby starts solids and is having 3 meals a day, because then it does save the mother a decent amount of time having having to prepare all 3 meals. So in my case, I had a japa for the first 2 months and then a nanny. A lot of this decision was driven by the fact that my husband and I live by ourselves and we don't have the fallback of a family. And we also wanted somebody who was experienced, because we believe that while you have a doctor who you can reach out to, you want perhaps an older woman who's been there, done that, so who can advise you on the little things. But the decision of who you would like to hire and when you would like to hire them should be completely yours as a family. So I'm just sharing a few factors which I think can make it a lot easier for you to decide whether you would like to invest in paid help or not. This may seem like a very small decision, but I can tell you it's not. So the first thing to consider is finances. While of course it's a lot easier to get paid help in India as compared to other countries, it's not cheap. In Mumbai, at least where I stay, a japa can charge anywhere from 25,000 to as high as 60-70,000 a month, and a nanny can charge anywhere starting from around 15,000 to it goes higher as the number of hours increase. A lot of it is also dependent on your locality, where you live, what are the prevailing rates, etc. Now the fixed cost here is just the salary, but there will be a few more expenses. Their meals, basic toiletries, maybe basic medication. In some cases you might have to make travel arrangements also. So this is something you want to actually consider if this financial cost is okay for you to bear. The second is your own comfort level. Some moms prefer being very hands-on. They like the idea of doing everything themselves. Some of them prefer a little bit of help. Also, a lot of couples don't like the idea of having someone being there in their house constantly. So, your own lifestyle, your own level of comfort, this is something you want to consider. Third thing I would highly urge you to consider, this is something I've heard from a lot of my friends who are second-time moms. So what they say is that, we hire a japa for that initial period, even though we've been there, done that, this is our second time, is because if we outsource a big part of childcare in the initial days to someone, we get to spend time with our older child, helping them do their routine tasks like playtime and homework, so that they don't feel left out all of a sudden. So these are things you perhaps should consider before you even deliver. Now there are some other factors which may come into play at a slightly later stage depending on how your parenting journey progresses. For instance, how is your health doing? Some mothers take a slightly longer period to heal, and that's absolutely fine. Recovery in case of a C-section is usually a little slower. In some cases, you might be feeling exhausted, you might be feeling sleep deprived, you might be feeling a little low, because from my own experience, I can tell you, postpartum can be a little lonely also. So, if you're feeling any of these and you feel a little overwhelmed, it may not be a bad idea to hire extra help. So the second is your child's needs. Now, if you're a twin mom, I can tell you handling 2 babies at one time can be an absolute handful. If you feel, you're struggling with maybe putting your baby to sleep, or maybe your baby is a little colicky as compared to other babies, feeding is an issue, then again, it may be a good idea to hire someone. The third is, what is your support system and your work-life routine going to look like in the future? So for instance, currently you may be on maternity leave, your partner may be on paternity leave, you have family who've come, for that post-delivery period. But what about the long term? Is your family going to be around to take care of the child when you resume work? Or are you planning to work from home? Can you and your partner work on a model where perhaps some days you work from home or some days your partner works from home? So all in all, like I said, I think hiring a paid help is an important decision, and let these factors help you take that decision. So where do you find paid helps? From what I have seen, there are 2 ways people usually find helps. One is through reference. So you can ask your family or your friends to ask their own helps if they can suggest someone, or someone who's already working in your house may know somebody. The second way that people hire helps is through agencies. Agencies will typically charge you a commission. It could be a flat fee, it could be like 1 month's salary of the help that you hire. So these are usually ways that people find their help. Now I obviously wouldn't be able to help you out find a help say in Ahmedabad or say Surat. It's best to get very local here and look in your own vicinity and your own network. And I think the best thing you can do is, even if you're looking to hire through an agency, ask around. I'm sure you will get some deals. So now finally, once you've decided that you're either hiring a japa or you're hiring a nanny or maybe a malish didi, how do you make sure that you're hiring the right help for your child? On a slightly humorous note, I think a lot of women, a lot of moms will tell you that their helps are a lifeline. So how do you set yourself up for success here? There are a few things which I would urge you to consider before you go ahead and finalize someone. Again, I'll tell you that you may not be 100% sure whether this person will prove to be the right person for your child or not. This is something which only time will tell. But at least if you do your homework well, or at least if you're making sure that you're doing your own due diligence in the beginning, it could at least help you make a more informed decision. So the first thing that you want to check for is qualifications and experience. Now, sadly in India, it's highly unlikely that you're going to find a potential nanny who has a degree in childcare, because it's not a very well-paid job. If you went to a France or a Switzerland, people who work as nannies have, if not a degree, a certain certification. So in India, trying to find somebody who has a degree is pointless. What you could look for is perhaps a basic level of education and literacy. This would be very useful, because if that person is a little educated, that person could help with reading medicine bottles, or perhaps that person would be well versed in WhatsApp, sending you updates, say if you're at work. Just a basic level of literacy and being able to operate basic mobile software like WhatsApps, text messaging, cameras, which I think I would say that a lot of people who come in already have, is something you should look for. The second thing, which is very important, is a basic background check. Sometimes a lot of agencies that provide helps will tell you that they have already done the background check, but I would urge you to do this on your own as well, because at the end of the day, this is a matter of our child's safety, especially in cases where both mother and father are stepping out to work. The easiest way to do this is to ask for references of previous employers and actually call those people and ask them if there were any red flags that you should watch out for, if there were any complaints, how was their behavior when they were working with them, with their children, and maybe ask them also why did they leave or why did the previous employer let them go. The second thing you can do here is ask them for some government issued ID. So like a copy of their Aadhaar card or voter ID card. Take that government issued ID to your nearest police station and ask them to check if there is any sort of a questionable record of this person. Now the third thing that you want to check for is a basic work profile or a scope of work. Maybe this is not very applicable in terms of a japa, because like I said earlier, they usually come with a very set scope of work, but perhaps you could ask this to a potential nanny. You can ask them that as the children grow older, other than what you're doing now, will you be able to help out with, say, maybe taking them to school, or maybe preparing their lunch, or maybe if would you be able to also help out with a little bit of household work. I think it's best to get these expectations right from the start. So the fourth is some sort of an indication of long-term availability, especially in case of, say, a nanny, because japas, like I said, I think usually people work in a manner where they book them from A date to B date, but even then, you can ask them that what if I want to extend you? Would this be something you'd be open to? For nannies, you can ask them, do they have any sort of long-term commitments that would prevent them from working with you for at least a minimum of 6 months. Now, the fifth thing is just a sense of communication and overall style of communication. This is really important because the said person will be talking and communicating with your kids regularly. So, are they nice to talk to? Are they friendly? Do you think this person will be rude to your kids or maybe use foul language which you don't want? Do you think they will scare your children? In addition, if you want them to talk to your child in a specific language, is this something they can manage? The sixth, which I'm sure you will of course discuss, is their salary. Salary is usually a very black and white area, but what you must discuss is what other benefits are they expecting. So for example, in Mumbai where I stay, it's a very standard practice that if a help has worked for you for a year, then during Diwali you give them whatever their 1 month's salary is as a Diwali bonus. So these are things you want to discuss, that other than their salary, what are they expecting? Are they expecting any bonus? Are they expecting some material gifts from you? In addition, what is their leave policy going to look like? Again, in Mumbai, a standard of 2 paid leaves a month is an accepted norm. Maybe it differs in the city where you live. Again, like most most other things, this is something which should be cleared right from the start. The final thing is your gut feeling. Please listen to what your gut tells you about the person you're talking to, because this is going to be a very important person. This is going to be the person you're going to be leaving your child with. Or even if you are going to be in the house, this is somebody who's going to be dealing with your child physically. They're going to be talking to them. So it's very important that you like and trust the person who you're going to hire as a help for your child. So these are all the things that I would advise before you decide to hire paid help for your child or not. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until then, keep glowing, keep growing.